Welcome to Two Queens and a Joker, my narcissist ex and me. I'm Brenda.
And I'm Sarah.
Today we're going to be talking about what covert narcissism really looks like. So Sarah and I were talking before we started the recording about whether our mutual ex was either covert or overt. And we have talked about this before, and we have kind of come to the conclusion that, Sarah,
He's both. Where you are in your relationship, definitely in the beginning with our Joker, for me, it was definitely covert in the very beginning. As time and years went on, it turned into both. It was covert when we were out in public and overt when we were home. So
that's an interesting concept because I don't think most people think of it in those terms that this could be. I mean, I think people do think of narcissism on a spectrum, but I don't think they think of it as on a spectrum of vacillating back and forth between the two types. But I absolutely think that is the case. And
I agree.
we witnessed it.
Want to show their true colors to the outside world, because the outside world, shining star, amazing husband, amazing provider, loves his family.
Mhm.
Inside the home, it's completely different and doesn't want to show that.
Right. Which tells you what level of control they actually have over their behavior.
Yes.
Right. And I hear people a lot of times, especially so in the groups and the therapy that I do with clients, and we'll talk about, I always get the question, how did they get this way? Why are they like this? That kind of thing. And as I've said before, oftentimes it's abuse and neglect in childhood. Not all the time, but oftentimes it is, which then I think makes people feel sorry for them. And this goes back to what we've talked about before with empathy too. Like, do they have a little bit? Probably a very little bit, but it's never the empathy that we think it is or the same empathy that we experience. But I think this is the same way. Like, if they're able to control it outwardly in public and then they let loose at home, that tells you a lot, right? They've got some control, right? Just like with the empathy thing, they choose to focus back on themselves when they see somebody hurting, somebody that's supposedly close to them hurting. That's a choice too. So I want to talk about the difference between covert and overt because I think it's a bit tricky. So overt narcissists are the obvious ones, and these are often the malignant ones. They're over the top, grandiose, and they brag, dominate conversations, act superior, and the behavior is usually loud and in your face. You can see the ego there from a mile away. This is the person you see being kind of boisterous, like in a restaurant or at a family gathering or a party or something like that. They're trying to have all the attention on them, and they're loud about it.
Very, very. They dominate conversations.
Being held hostage in conversation with a narcissist is really common, whether you're in public or not.
Yeah.
But they'll corner people. Actually, listen, I think a covert narcissist is probably more likely to isolate single people. Like if you're in a family or a gathering, they'll, kind of corner somebody and talk their ear off and not even consider the fact that there's other people that person might want to talk to in this gathering. Overt will try to be the center of a lot of attention with a lot of people. So the covert is trickier. They hide their control behind things like fake vulnerability, guilt trips, big one. Guilt trips is a big one, and acting like the victim. I know you and I can relate to that
Every
one.
time that word victim comes up in this
Mhm.
situation, makes me ill. My stomach and the bile just rises.
It's so hard to stomach when that person has victimized everyone around them
Yes.
and then turn around and say, poor me, right?
Well, and that's how they get us to stay so long. They've turned the situation into, oh, my feelings are hurt, or you've hurt me, or when I grew up, I didn't have this kind of love. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to be faithful. I don't know how to be truthful. You're teaching me. It's going to be a learning experience.
Yeah.
That's,
What a joke.
20 plus years of learning that, I wasn't worth it, or, my kids weren't worth it. But no, it's because he chose that. He chose to put himself above the children, myself, his dad, his family, until he needs that person at that time. Then they're best buddies, or I love you so much. Let's do this, because he needs something.
Definitely. Definitely. It's all about him. And that only got worse with you because, there's 3 other children that he was already ignoring too, right?
Yes.
The older children. And then he turns around and tries to have a normal family with you and still can't pull it together. And, creates more children that he just abuses and neglects.
Amazing father. I would do anything for my children. I would never hurt my children. I would never put them through anything. It's like, did did you not just live the last 20 years in the same house that I did with you?
Convenient.
Yeah.
He'd do anything for his children as long as he doesn't have to put any effort in whatsoever.
Yeah. As long as it benefited him.
Mhm.
I can't think of a single situation where he went out of his way to do something for somebody else that didn't put a positive on him in some way,
Yeah.
like
No.
Habitat for Humanity,
Yes.
to get the recognition. Then he had the other firefighters join him, and they talked him up and all that, and then they got the interview, and yeah, no.
We know the truth.
And as soon as everybody stopped talking about it, it went out the door.
Of
Yeah,
course it did.
yeah.
I asked him whatever happened with that, and he never had a good reason of why he stopped doing it.
It's like everything else. He did it, like, strong for, like, maybe a week or 2, and then it was like the projects in the house. They're
Yeah.
half done. They're half-assed. Nothing's finished. He's like, I don't wanna do it anymore."
That's really funny that you said that because I didn't realize it was only a week or 2. To hear him tell it, so this he was doing this when I was still in the Midwest. To hear him tell it, it sounded like he was, like, spending all of his off time every week working at Habitat for Humanity or doing the boot thing.
To get him, like, after the first initial, 'cause it was, I think it was, like, 1 or 2 on the off days here or there, and, like, as they got later and later, to get him out of the house, to get him to Habitat for Humanity, which is an awesome organization.
Mhm.
It was like a fight. I'm like, "You said you're gonna be there at this time. You're still in bed. Are you gonna get up?" And he's like, "I'll get up in a little." It was constantly me being a mother going, "You need to get there. You have this obligation that you signed up for. People are waiting on you. You have the tools. You need to get there." Or he just wouldn't show up. And I don't even know the phone calls and how many times I had to go out to the job site for, I think it was like 2, maybe 3 times. "I need this. I need this. I need this." I'm like, "Okay. Let me stop what I'm doing. I'll go do that for you. Come back home," and just like
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not surprised. Not it's shocking behavior, but it's just not surprising knowing him.
the same
'Cause
with when his father moved in the house, because the first time, the first time it was, he was here for a couple years, I think it was. And, like, I would say it was good for, like, the month or 2, because, "Oh, he's a good son, he let dad move in, da 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 da, I'm gonna take him to doctor's appointments." Yeah, that wore off really fast. Then it was my responsibility, and he didn't want anything to do with it. No.
of course,
Yeah.
for somebody else,
Mhm.
not gonna happen. Yeah. What a covert narcissist looks like is hiding control behind things like fake vulnerability, where you said guilt trips or acting like the victim. They might come across as sensitive or misunderstood, but underneath they're still trying to get power and attention. It's just a trickier, more manipulative way to do it. I've been asked many times too, what's the worst kind of narcissist? And I think they're all really bad, but I just think this one is harder to see coming. So they probably do a lot more damage because we don't realize right away. It is very damaging and sneaky. It makes you question your it makes you question your gut if you're even at the point anymore that you can tune into your intuition, which that gets eroded away, I think, slowly and effectively with any kind of narcissist, but especially a covert narcissist. If you question your gut, defend their behavior to others, and struggle to explain what's wrong, those are all signs of that you might be with a covert narcissist. Covert abuse is like a slow leak. It quietly wears you down until you're exhausted and unsure of yourself. The exhaustion part is really profound to me because I just remember anytime he would go out or, even if it was, I knew he was going to do things that I would not approve of and probably cheat on me because it's what he always did. It was worth it for him just to be gone and have peace in my house.
Absolutely. But then you have the anxiety because you know he's coming back.
Yeah. There is that too, but I think maybe those first few minutes when they walk out the door and you're like, "All right, I can breathe." Yeah, it's pretty profound, but the anxiety does kick in.
Like, when he would go on shift, because he did 48, and sometimes he would do 72, the house was
Mhm.
calm. The house,
Yeah.
it's just nice.
Well, that had to be hard for you too, though, because I mean, that's a good long chunk of time each time that he was gone, but he had like 4 days off between
Yes.
usually, right?
Yes.
So 4 days of him, and it had to be hell,
Yeah.
given way too much free time.
Yes. Like, later, it was always like, later on, it'd be 4 days of him just laying around doing nothing, not being accountable for anything, you know? Right. I'd come home and he'd go, "Why aren't the dishes done?" I'm like, "Did I not just walk through the front door? You saw me?
Have you not
The
been home?
kids haven't been home all day." "Well, yeah, but the dishes aren't done and I'm hungry." And yeah.
Man child.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty well, poorly behaved man child. So I think for folks who are questioning whether they're in a relationship with a covert narcissist, I think there are these aha moments that you'll notice where I hope it brings clarity after you think about this. Are you noticing that every disagreement ends with you comforting them or you apologizing to them, no matter what? Like everything gets turned around and you're the one that's saying, okay, I can see how I did that because they've just manipulated all the blame onto you. Noticing that you always feel guilty, confused, or too much after conversations that should have been simple.
It's soul draining.
Soul draining is a very good term. Catching how they downplay your achievements or shift the spotlight back to themselves in sneaky ways. That's a pretty common one too.
All the time.
Huh?
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm in healthcare. So we had a patient that coded in one of our procedures and, the other tech and I and the nurse, we were doing CPR and bringing the patient back. And it takes you from a dark place to like, oh my gosh, this person is back with us. They're alive. Oh my gosh, you're like super, and you just want to tell them, oh my God, this person's still here. And I never had that experience in my job specifically because it doesn't happen that often, knock on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember being super excited to come home and share that with him. And he brushed it off like it was like no big deal. He's like, "Do you know how many times I do that in my job?" And I'm like, "I know that
My God.
this is like this isn't in my normal job. This is not my everyday. This is I've been doing this for, I don't even know, probably about 15 years at that point. I'm like, I've never had this situation. I've never had to use my CPR or anything like that to bring the person back. My gosh. But no.
Such a spot on example of
Yes.
this manipulation, right? This covert, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of overt too. But yeah, just such a prime example. Seeing how they use emotional shutdowns, guilt trips, or mock vulnerability to control the dynamic. Oh my gosh. The shutdowns too can be the start of the cycle of the silent treatment, right? So you just never know. And I think that puts us on edge in a big way because if they're not talking and not responding after they've been particularly cruel to you, I think when you're in the cycle, you know what's coming next. Well, that wraps up this episode a little abruptly. Sorry about that. Sometimes things happen while we're recording and cause us to stop unexpectedly. But we did say all we wanted to say about covert narcissism for this time, and I hope you found this information helpful.